Got some fresh baked bread and good cheese if you're after a bite to eat.
Game Trailers 2011 Game of the Year Awards. Best Role-Playing Game.
"2011 2011 is a landmark year for RPGs, with nearly every big franchise in the category throwing its name in the hat. Given that these games seldom have the luxury of falling back on multiplayer modes for lasting appeal, we expect a great deal from them. It's safe to say that this year's entries did well by us on that measure.
You want something or not?
And the nominees are Dark Souls,
With most RPGs these days trying to charm you with their silver tongues, Dark Souls' quiet brooding feels like a breath of fresh air. As unrelenting in its challenge as 2009's Demon Souls, it doesn't go well out of its way to endear itself to you, instead allowing the stark wonders found in its masterfully crafted world to draw you in. And draw you in they will. At a moment when so much of the industry is defined by risk aversion, Dark Souls never ceases to surprise. From its haunting aesthetic, which succeeds through minimalism at rendering a fascinating world, to its novel take on multiplayer, Dark Souls is defined by the unexpected.
You seem to be doing all right.
Deus Ex, Human Revolution.
Stay out of the ladies' restroom.
Nowadays, it's by no means uncommon to view an RPG world by looking down the barrel of a gun. But when the original Deus Ex came out in 2000, the idea was boundary-crushing. Human Revolution, Eidos Montreal's slick prequel installment, does well by the legacy of this epic classic. You are Adam Jensen, a true tragic hero caught in the midst of a conspiracy he can only unravel by means of canny trickery or Rambo-like heroics. The choice is yours, depending on whether you want to take the stealthy route or go in guns blazing, and the game does an admirable job of making either approach viable.
I'm a decorated vet, and I won't be jerked around.
Dragon Age 2.
No one at the brothel will speak with me.
While Dragon Age 2 defiantly zigs when its most vocal fans want non-stop zagging, its strong cast of characters and the wonderful underlying mechanics earn it a nod regardless. Hawk's origin tale, which spans the years on a down-and-dirty human scale, proves that BioWare can tell a ripping yarn without falling back on the trappings of epic fantasy. The combat is also some of the most explosive and rewarding we've seen for years in an RPG.
50 silver and someone may touch you. Briefly.
The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim.
Need something?
The telltale signs of a new Bethesda RPG are unmistakable. Every person on your friends list seems to be playing the same game, and it's altogether harder to find people to do things that don't involve ransacking caves or mass-producing iron daggers. Yes, it's safe to say that Skyrim has taken the world by storm, and when you consider the sheer breadth of its world, it's easy to see why. It's inevitable that a game this big will bite off more than it can chew at times, but when you're in a world that's just this vast and multifaceted, you'll have so much to do that it's hard to focus on the flaws.
A Nord's last thoughts should be of home.
The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings.
Forget the dragon. I need to hear how this story ends.
In contrast to all the highfalutin epic fantasy themes that tend to dominate RPGs, The Witcher 2's world stands as a welcome hit of humanity. As mutant monster hunter Geralt, you definitely are called upon to do big things, but there always seems to be time for brawling, dicing, and wenching. Factor in stellar production values and combat that's demanding and deadly, and you have the computer RPG for the history books.
This profession requires cold calculation.
And the winner is Dark Souls.
This is the most hotly contested category of this year's awards, and Dark Souls just barely slides past Skyrim after more than an hour of spirited debate. It ultimately comes down to innovation. Dark Souls plays like just one other game, while Skyrim, as great as it is, feels much more similar. Dark Souls provides one of the most memorable worlds we've ever had the pleasure of exploring, one replete with detail, mystery, and wonder. Its fundamental gameplay is as rewarding as it is exacting, which is a profound achievement in a genre where mechanics commonly take a backseat to fluff.